Welcome back to Module 1C, where we'll be discussing how to select a research topic. My name is Leo Lee. I go to Regis High School in New York, and my interests align with computational biology and machine learning, specifically regarding computer vision. And my research experience, I've worked under professors at my local university, and for accolades, I was a ISEF finalist in LA in 2024, and I was a Columbia Undergrad Science Journal finalist.
My name is Arav Chand. I'm a student at Half-Wall Hills High School West. My category for research is mathematics, and specifically the subcategories of number theory and combinatorics. For my research, I worked under a professor at a local university, and what I accomplished with my research last year was becoming an ISEF finalist. And at ISEF, I won a special award, which was the third place in the NSA Directorate in the mathematical category.
Hi, so my name is Aaron Matthew, and I'm an upcoming senior at Comag High School, and my research area spans between computational biology and cellular molecular biology. So for computational biology, I had previous research experience in machine learning, and more specifically computer vision, where I did a research project on classifying between different stroke types using ML. And within cellular molecular biology, I had research experience within cancer immunology, where I looked at how various complement proteins can be targeted in order to help the immune system attack cancer. And so from my previous research experience, I have worked with a professor at a local university, and this summer I fortunately was able to partake in the Simonson research program. And my accolades are being part and the Columbia Undergrad Science Journal finalist.
So the importance of this is basically to narrow down broader topics into more focused research questions to focus when you're experimenting. So strategy one would essentially be jumping straight in. So research really depends on what field you really want to get into, but sometimes experimenting right away helps more than just reading papers. So for example, for machine learning, I would recommend anyone interested in that area to kind of just start messing around with models and seeing what really works to get the hang of basic fundamentals. So for more heavily researched fields, you won't really immediately get to understand all the terminology, as these papers are written by professors who have had years of experience in these fields. So obviously you won't be able to understand the terminology. So strategy one would really just be jumping straight in. So moving on to strategy two, which is a lot more straightforward, is actually just reading. So your niche of research may actually require reading immediately, and this is due to the fact that you need to understand the previous research and the literature deeply before being able to experiment at all. So I would relate this to fields like cell biology, where you kind of need to have a general idea of where you want to start before you can actually think of an experiment. So this can go hand in hand with strategy one, so you can try mixing and matching. For example, you can start out by trying and experimenting, but if you don't really understand what's going on, you can try strategy two by reading papers and getting an understanding with the terminology, and vice versa.
So next we'll be talking about wet lab and dry lab. So there are two main aspects when it comes to research: wet lab and dry lab. So what's the difference? Well, wet lab involves hands-on experiments with biological, chemical, or physical materials, while dry lab involves computational, theoretical, or data analysis research. For example, wet lab requires physical substances like chemicals, cells, or biological tissues, while dry lab focuses on software, simulations, and data modeling. And of course, respectively, the techniques you use for each of them are going to be different, right? For wet lab, you're going to use like microscopes, pipettes, centrifuges, and usually wet lab requires much more paperwork in order to make sure you have the right safety procedures, because you are working with sometimes, like I said, biological tissues, or sometimes even living organisms such as mice, if you choose to do that research. Also, dry lab includes modeling, simulations, bioinformatics, and data interpretation. And so the main difference between the two is what you're interested in. If you're interested in trying to do more hands-on research, wet lab is your approach, but like I said, it depends on one, where you do the research, and two, what research you are doing, because for example, if you want to do research with mice, you're going to have to work in a biology level 2 lab, as opposed to if you just want to do a machine learning project on analyzing data, which you can do from the comfort of your own home.
Next, we want to work on assessing topic feasibility. So this means, how do I actually check I can perform this research manageably? So first, we want to ensure we have realistic resources. That means selecting a topic that's within your skill level, and especially avoiding advanced areas like biosafety level 4 research. You want to do something that you have a little bit of experience with. You might have read a little bit of literature, you might have done advanced courses on it at school, outside of school, competitions. And furthermore, you want to ensure you actually have access to the necessary materials for that topic that you'll be needing for that topic, the materials, the equipment, and facilities. Next, you want to make sure your research complies with competition regulations. So, to give an example on what this means, if your work is using mice, they can't be sacrificed just for your project. You can only use leftover mice from your mentor's project. For example, if they use mice brain for their project and you are studying the colon, then that's fine because they're using the brain, you're using the colon. You're not specifically sacrificing mice for your project, but you're using what your mentor was leaving over. Finally, you want to be consistently consulting with your mentors to confirm that your topic is actually feasible and you have the resources necessary, because communication is key during this entire process of research and you want to keep that up. You also want to consider the time constraints, because this is a year by year kind of competition, at least ISEF and general research competitions. So especially if you're starting your research late in the year, you want to take special note of local fair timing, because you might need to adjust the scope of the project to have a manageable time frame to produce a minimum viable project to be able to present. However, lab group work might not be as accommodating to this, since they usually have their own time frame. So to avoid that, get started early. Finally, you want to ensure topic relevancy and originality. So how you want to start by doing this is just by simply Googling stuff about your project. At the most basic level, directly search up your project title. You really should not be finding anything that matches all or really most of your work here, or what you plan to do if you're in the beginning stages. Additionally, you also want to be searching up alternative ways to frame your question, perspectives on the problem, which can also help you in the long run by giving you other ways to view your question. Furthermore, you want to consult with experts and research teacher if you have a research program. You want to continuously be communicating your idea and making sure that, because they're more knowledgeable in these fields, generally the experts and definitely the professors that you're talking to, they should have a better idea than you would just from even a literature review. And finally, just as maybe a fun exercise, you probably want to search it through the ISEF project database. One, to check for the project if it's previously been done, but also to make sure that just to get an idea of how topics within the general field that you're in might have been conducted in ISEF.